Palantir has been ripping up as we see price closes at 181.76, continuing this very bullish bounce from this big sell-off that we saw. So should we be testing the top of this range being 186.35 as that was the major resistance, past that being very volatile, or are we going to see sellers step in sooner than later, destroying this bullish rally? All right, guys, taking you to the weekly time frame here, we see stock really rip up nice and find that balance. We were in that range, right? Each candle being weak here between 150 and roughly around that $200 psychological level, right? Chopping within this range, battling for that control, right? Quickly hit all-time highs as we break out of that kind of section we were looking at on the daily. And from there, guys, we do see a big sell-off, not only on Palantir, but within the overall market. And Palantir has been a great responder to that bounce that we've seen within the overall market. So boom, guys, 1-2 weeks in a row, really bouncing very nicely with that last previous week being a very solid green wide bar, even while the overall market saw a good bit of indecision last week, right? Still the bullish narrative to the upside, but Palantir really closed quite well comparative to the overall market, being very strong with sellers not in that control. So weekly time frame looking very good, very strong stock overall, and looking like we are recovering quite well here. Flipping back to the daily time frame, we had this obvious range between 174 and 186. This was the chop range that we had before breaking out and finding all-time highs and then finding that big sell-off, right? Smaller bounce up, bigger pullback. But we do see Palantir is very reactive, like we covered in the last analysis, right? That 150 level being very reactive as support. Each time we come back down, guys, we go ahead, hold up very strong, even if it's a couple of weeks of chopping. This was around 3 weeks of price action here, guys, just chopping on the spot. Sellers cannot find a move down, and we go ahead, find a very nice continuation up after really holding our ground there, right? We saw a 24% movement after holding that last time. Now we've created a double bottom effect, bottom there, and we've seen explosive price action up, doing roughly the same type of move that we saw right here the last time. So stocks being very reactive, that helps us out a lot and shows that Palantir is controlled by the buyers currently. And now very obvious price target would be that 186, right? Every time we get in this range between these levels of 174 and 186, we get multiple tests of that resistance. And the fact we've been so strong here, guys, if the sellers even stepped in for a couple of days, you'd feel very well with that 174 level holding up as support and keeping us in this range, testing that 186, because after we break that 186 resistance, guys, we're off to the moon, right? We're off to those all-time highs. There's not a lot of price action here. If we break this level, it's pretty much go ahead, very volatile move up to that $200 psychological level. 186 being that major resistance to catapult us back to that 200. So looking really good here, guys. Even though the market's in a bit of an indecisive spot come next week, if we get that pullback, that 174 is looking very prime to give us that bounce and keep us in this range, continuing this bullish rally up. If we look on the hourly, guys, Palantir has definitely been one of the stronger stocks in the market off of this bounce movement. We've just seen a stair-step pattern up, really no answer from the sellers, right? Big move up, very small pullback, or just a chop movement and continuing the movement up. Huge move, guys, right? 150 to 181 in the matter of a couple of weeks. That is great price action. If you look at the overall market, if we pull up QQQ here, QQQ has been very responsive to this bounce as well, really catapulting that market up. We check the daily time frame. We are in a little bit of an indecisive spot though, guys. On that last day of trading, we saw a nice move up and we saw a lot of selling pressure, right? The day started very well and the sellers kind of pulled us back, yanked us back, and we're right at that resistance where if the sellers are going to step in, guys, it's right now. Even if it's for a couple of days, maybe finding that support at 616, then continuing up, it's definitely a great opportunity for the sellers to step in here. Expect that next week. Even if we get a little bit of a pullback, guys, we're in this huge bullish narrative. I absolutely don't think it'd be a huge knife down like we saw right here. Very unlikely. December is usually a very good month for the market. And, if we see a little bit of a pullback now, we will definitely, I think, reciprocate it and possibly test those all-time highs or break that by the end of the month. And this sets Palantir up great, guys. I mean, we're in this spot where even if we see a little bit of a pullback, that 174, if that does hold up, the bulls are in an excellent position to go ahead, test out 186 and get above that. If we looked at the very worst case scenario, even if we crash back down to around the 165, 160 level, still would be a higher low in this formation, and we still would be trending up. Definitely don't see that happening though, guys. The fact we've been so strong, even when the market's seeing a bit of indecisive selling pressure on that last day, we closed very strong, solid green bar, showing that the buyers in that ultimate control throughout the entire day. And if we quickly look back on the weekly, Palantir has just been a dominant stock in the market. Really no extraordinary pullback, guys, right? Every time we go ahead and make a move, if we see a pullback, it is not devastating, and we go ahead correct better every single time. That's what we should be seeing here, guys. I mean, we're really prime. We're at a great spot here to go ahead, see end of the month all-time highs hit, if not breaking through those all-time highs, finding a nice movement up before finding another little small pullback possibly and continuing the movement. I think we're really primed here to go ahead and do that, guys, right? We see on the weekly a standout green wide candle from this bounce effect. We're looking to break through this resistance and test those highs. So I'll do it for the analysis. We are very bullish on this with a short-term price target of 186, a long-term slash end of month price target of all-time highs being hit slash at 210. And if the bears get in that control, guys, a support target of 174. The very low support target on the channel being around 160 to 165, which I don't exactly think is going to happen. I think we do hold up at that 174, continue trending to that 186 and all-time highs. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more. Hit that like button. And as always, guys, trade smart. I'll see you all in the next one.